Yes, good evening. Savva here from Football Heritage TV. Hope everybody is okay. Big up to absolutely everybody. Listen, 8 days now until the transfer window shuts. So we've got a few things that we can talk about tonight. Lots of things going on. Lots of talk that Serge Reguilon is on his way out. Same with Lo Celso. Lots of talks that Solomon, again, another player bought in, hasn't played, and he looks like he's on his way out to, was it Leeds and somebody else? Was it Malaga maybe in Spain? And then you've got Ashley. Am I making that up? Ashley Phillips, Ashley Phillips going to Stoke. Look, again, so all the kids have gone out on loan. Hatafe, thank you, Ash, thank you. Hatafe, I knew it was one of them. Thank you. I can always count on the people in the chat. Listen, I'm gonna start off by saying thank you very much to Tony. Tony in AC, who became a channel member. Big up to you, Tony. Really appreciate you. Before we do anything, please smash the likes, please subs. If ever there was a day that I needed some likes and some subs, then it's today. Listen, I'll start off by saying as well, I'm not too old to be saying this. Listen, apologies to Ben Bowman. I shouldn't have really used his name in my rant the other day. I didn't mean him any harm. It wasn't horrible. I just said he had some fluffy opinions, but it wasn't right. Shouldn't have done it. From that standpoint, yes. So I don't have any beef with Ben. I'd seen it. I was in a bad mood and I mentioned it and I shouldn't have. So if Ben sees this, I do apologize. I don't have any way of contacting him. Otherwise I would do it face to face. But listen, sometimes when you're wrong, you're wrong. What I would say is this. He then put a post out saying about me, which is fine. The post is fine. But then off the back of that post, I mean, I just received abuse upon abuse upon abuse. And listen, people will say, oh, you're crying. You're not built for this YouTube game. There is a big difference between someone calling out your but this is not Ben's fault, by the way. You know, someone calling out your opinion and someone saying they disagree with you. Today, I've been told that my wife is a whore. I've been told that I should go and die of cancer. I've been told that I'm a paedophile. I've been told that I'm a freak, that I give off pedo vibes. I don't even know what that means. Giving off pedo vibes. I've been told that I look like I've got Down syndrome today. I've been told, just all sorts of disgusting things. And look, for me, look, but again, Acid Twin, sorry, no. This is people on X. I'm not on X, Acid Twin. So no, this, unfortunately, when people say nice, fluffy things like this, it doesn't work, Acid Twin. I'm not on X. A post has gone on to me about me on X, and everything underneath is just absolutely vile. And I didn't even see it. My brother saw it. My brother doesn't like football. But every now and then he checks in on me in the YouTube world. And I just said to him, look, you know, I was talking yesterday and I said, look, when you get a chance, if you're on X, just check. And he typed in my name. He just typed, well, obviously his surname as well. Typed in our surname, and he couldn't believe it. There was people talking there about that's why Savva's wife can't have kids. This is why his parents have died, because they hate him as well, as much as the Spurs fan base hate him. So he screenshotted all this stuff and sent it to me and gone, what the, like, my brother's cool, calm and collected. And he's like, what the is this? And I just said to him, look, that's X. He said, but you're not on X. And I was like, I know. I was like, this is what happens without me being on X. Again, sorry, no, Seathal, this isn't the point. This is, I think when people say things like this, you don't understand. Yeah. My brother couldn't believe the things that were being said about me. And I said, go on, check, see what they're saying. And boom, 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 boom. And listen, look, do I go to bed at night and cry? No. Am I going to go to bed tonight and top myself? No. But my worry is I've seen people that have, and we will talk about football. Give me a couple of minutes. We will talk about football. But this is really important. We've seen people in life before that have been called things like this on social media over and over and over again and have taken their own lives. These people that are saying these things, how would they feel if I did? I'm not going to. Please don't take this as a cry for help. I'm good. But how would they feel if the person they were saying this about on a regular basis did actually then go and kill themselves? Would they take accountability? It's absolutely mad. And I wouldn't mind, but my bosses are on X. My family are on X, right? I'm not, but I have other people. I have a wife. People have Facebooked my wife saying that they hope I die. So when people in the chat just say things like, ignore the haters. How would you like it if you were every day, because of a football opinion, because of my football facts and opinions on Tottenham Hotspur, being called a paedophile, please go and die of AIDS, please go and die of cancer, you're a rapist, you're a CUNT. It's absolutely mental. It is mental behavior. And all the people that go, oh, but that's how social media, no, that's not an answer. That's not an answer. The answer isn't, oh, well, you know what it's like. No. Listen, I can have rows with people. I can have big debates with people. I can call people out, but I'm never going to call them a rapist or a paedophile or anything like that. So, look, and the problem is, and I will get to football, please, I just have to get this off my chest. For my own sanity, I have to get this off the chest. Yeah? No, again, Acid Twin, stop. This is not it. No. That is not it. Stop. Stop. No. Because they're going to do this one day to someone who is going to take their life. Yeah? Who is. And these people, let me just give you an example. Someone that I used to work with many years ago, who we don't speak, we weren't friends, but who I know. When a tragedy happened in his life, I was one of the first people that messaged him and said, look, I'm so sorry this has happened. Can I get you and your son some free Spurs tickets? Right? I've now seen that person today underneath Ben's comment. And again, that's not on Ben. Fair enough. He was retaliating. That's absolutely fine. Saying, don't worry about Sav. Sav's just a knob. Well, I wasn't a knob when you went through a really bad tragedy in your life and I was offering you free tickets as my way of saying, look, let me do something nice for you. I'm not a knob when I'm raising thousands and thousands of pounds for charity. So can we please just calm it, right? If you don't like my opinion, by the way, Stell is getting all this as well. All day today, Stell is getting it as well. Purely because we provided some facts. And then what's actually happened off the back of this, which makes it worse, someone's uploaded that video of me bringing out the facts onto X. They've edited it to add, like, after every fact, there's like a bomb noise or a boom noise. They've brought up Ben's, again, this is not on Ben, by the way. Ben hasn't done anything. They've then brought up Ben's thumbnail to make it look like I brought up Ben's thumbnail. And that is how you start wars with people, right? It's absolutely mad. So can we just calm down? I'm not saying it's any of you, but can we just calm down? I feel like it's football. And do you know the funny thing is? Let me evolve this into football now. Big up to each and every one of you. Please smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I try my best to give you as good a content as I can, and I can only be truthful to myself. I know a lot of people, they want to see more positive content. I want to see more positive content, but I need the club to actually do something that's positive before I'm going to sit here and lie to people that follow me. I think I owe it to people to be honest. I don't want to be one of these people that makes it up the chain because I just say positive things. That's fine. And there's nothing wrong with being positive. But at the same time, we can't all be hypocrites. So let me move this back into football. At the beginning of the summer, nearly every Spurs fan I saw, nearly every Spurs fan I saw said, this club, watch how they back Ange this summer. You wait till the summer. You see how they back Ange. We need a top winger, a top centre forward. couple of top midfielders, more centre-backs. Everyone was saying the same thing. Everybody. I'm holding them to that. All these other people now have just gone, yeah, it doesn't matter. We bought kids and we're going on a youth project. And the thing that makes me laugh about this is I've seen loads of people saying things like, oh, these negative people, me and Stel, for example, these negative people, right? The people that have been right about this club for as long as I can remember. These negative people, what don't they understand about this being a youth project? Right. So let's get into that, right? Let's get into this football now, people. Thank you for letting me vent. I needed to. It just gets to a point where it's a little bit too much. And when my family and work colleagues are saying, what is this? Yes, Gus. Yes, Spurs fans. Yes, all Spurs fans. Mental. It's absolutely crazy, right? I'm not saying I'm an angel, but listen, it is what it is. Grown adults, people on there going, oh, I'm a dad of two, and if my kid ended up being like Savva, I'd be ashamed. I'd be ashamed that you're a dad and writing things like that. It's embarrassing. Now, these negative people, the negative people like me and Stel, right? Us negatives, let this sink in. Just makes me laugh. What don't we understand about this being a youth project? Cool. One, when did Ange ever say this was a youth project? Because as far as I'm aware, Ange actually said he wants to win things now. Ange never said this was a youth project. Ange didn't say 5 years' time. So a lot of these fans are actually just sitting there now going, 5 years, this is a 5-year. Who's making that up? And still talking about football, but a lot of these people that I saw with those comments, right? Absolutely abusing me and this negative guy. And, oh, I bet he's fun at parties. How does his wife live with him? He's so negative. First of all, do you think that I come off stream and I go downstairs and I go, oh my God, I'm not going to tell you my wife's name, but oh my God, it's just like I can't cope because of Spurs. Do you know what I mean? When this stops, I go down and I spend time with my wife and we go for dinner and we go for walks into the theatre and the cinema and, you know, we go to parties and we do normal stuff. But this notion that because I'm honest about Spurs that I don't enjoy life is absolutely crazy. But what makes me laugh is these people at the beginning of the summer, they were telling us, watch what we win next year. Ange in his second season always wins, right? Ange is going to be backed. Ange is going to buy top players. Ange himself is saying, where's your winning mentality? I'm here to win. Yeah, right. Then all of a sudden, when we don't buy any top players in the pre-season, it suddenly changes to, it's a 5-year project. The youth, it's a 5-year project. Cool. All right, I'm wrong. I'm so sorry, everyone. It's a 5-year project. It's youth. Cool. The first game of the season rocks up. I don't see any kids in that first team. So this youth project, there's no kids. There's no kids in the first team. There's no kids. Only 2 teenagers that we've bought are in the squad. Let that sink in. Only 2 teenagers we bought are in the squad. So if this is going to be how we do things, if we're all going to be able to say one thing at the beginning of the summer, then when that doesn't happen and we have a shit window, and it has been a shit window, whatever anyone fluffy says about this, it's a shit window, right? If we can say at the beginning, oh, we need X, Y, Z, then that doesn't happen. We have a shit window, but then we can just change our minds, make up that the club and Ange just said it's a 5-year project. Cool. Then there's no point anyone having football opinions, because what actually happens is, as you've noticed, people like me, people like Stel, people like Scott M in the chat, big up Scott. And me and Scott have had our differences, but you know what? We agree on a lot, but we've had our differences. We never fell out. We never went to war with words. And no, because I didn't use it in a derogatory way. It's fine. If they demonetize me for that, I'd be mad. So look, so that's my point. And leading on from that, I'll just say, and I'm going to bring someone on now. And the reason I'm going to bring this guy on, and hopefully he has a little chuckle to himself in the background when hearing this is somebody else again where people see something on YouTube and start messaging YouTubers saying, have you seen what he said about you? Have you seen what he said about you? Have you seen? Have you seen? Have you seen? And they're thinking that some of us don't talk. It's crazy. So I'm going to bring on this guy, and we disagree on a lot. Jacob from United Spurs of America. Bro, how you doing?
Hello, Savva. What's going on? How you doing?
Apparently, we're at war and absolutely hate each other. How's that going for you?
No, I sent you a clip this morning from my favorite bit that was shared with me, and it was the cootie. Yeah, cootie. I love the clip. Honestly, it was quite hilarious. And people were sending to me like, "Oh, did you see what Savva said? Did you see the reply?" I said, "Savva, look, this is the clip they're sending to me. Here's what I think my response would be." But I'm sure that this was before this video that you had posted was before we actually had a conversation when I actually woke up. So it's just funny how word travels through the grapevine like that. But that's why I tell you. And whenever I made the video and I went on a rant about facts and people talking about facts, and I referenced your facts, I referenced 2 other channels. Shout out Queen Ellie, Adrian Shroka. Shout out Dan the Hotspur Hood. I always try to get as much from the opposite side as I can so I can make up the full picture with all the information. That's always how I've approached every situation in life, because I know this side's got one side story, this side's got another story, and the truth therein lies somewhere right in the middle. There's a sweet spot, and you got to find out what that is. So for me, with Tottenham, that's how I've always approached it as well. I watch people that I like to support, whether I agree with their opinion or not. And Savva knows this. We've had extensive conversations about this. Savva knows how I feel about him as a person. Just because he has one way he thinks Ainge should play or Tottenham should go in a direction as a club, and I have a lot of actually similar thought process in regards to the club. It's just usually where the coaches and the players where we start to differ opinion. And then people take that and they see it, oh, Jacob and Savva really hate each other. Right? You get, I mean, that dude who posted this is the silliest part. The guy who posted that tweet that instigated all the abuse that therein lied for you based off a video you had posted, right? The guy who tweeted that is the same account that's been trolling me, being like, when are you going to debate Savva? Savva's a guy owns you. If you ever have Savva or Lee Gunner on your show, bro, I streamed with Lee Gunner last night, and I'm streaming with you right now. So what is going to happen if I stream with these people exactly? They're going to destroy me. They're going to kill me. Like you hear all type of things. So that Spurs Truth TV, that guy's a troll. I don't know what kind of AI channel he's trying to run over there, but I ain't getting fooled by it. I'll tell you that much.
No, look, absolutely. And look, Jacob, you and I, look, we agree with some stuff at Spurs. We disagree with a lot of stuff. But and I think it's cool. But listen, I think even me and you have been dragged into it where we've messaged each other going, did you do this? Did you do this? And in the end, when we actually have a conversation about it, you go, hang on. We're being played here. Like, other people want to do this. I'm waking up to WhatsApps going, oh my God, have you seen what Jacob said about you? And you're waking up going, oh my God, Savva, he's the devil. And look what he's done. And look, at the end of the day, guys and girls, it is football. And Jacob and I are going to speak a little bit about football in a minute. But listen, Jacob, I've got just under 400 people in here and only 124 likes. That's a bad ratio, right? So let's get that ratio up, people. Let's
looking like the forward line for Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about a few things Spurs. By the way, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. And get over to United Spurs of America and subscribe to Jacob. I hate him, but you might as well subscribe to him because he's here.
Yeah, we do hate each other, But
just
he's always going to mock me for my Cootie agenda. Everyone around the internet knows how I feel about Cootie Romero. And it's not that I find excuse. Look, I think I
have you still got him? Yeah, there you go.
There he goes.
A little dull.
Hey,
look, just before we talk about Spurs, just quickly, first of all, big up Rich in the chat. Said big up Sav. Thanks for speaking the truth. Look, some of it is my truth. Some of it are facts. Some of it I'm wrong. Some of it I'm right, and it is what it is. But I just don't think it makes me a paedophile for having. Do you know what I mean? It's such a random thing to say.
The stretches of the imagination are quite funny. When really, again, it's the same thing like you've been talking about. We just disagree on a football opinion or an opinion on a player as a footballer, and then it becomes this extrapolated thing that it really don't need to be. And I think in this world of social media, YouTube, people like the drama. They want to see what they could just throw that out there. Hey, you see what so-and-so said? Boom. Now they've started a chain reaction. Now Savva's like, oh shit, well, what did Jacob say? Boom, go check out Jacob. Then you see me referring to facts that you mentioned. Yes, I told you. I didn't try and shy away from the fact that you are a channel I frequent, that I get, what you say, and I try to say, hey, where do I agree and where do I disagree? And in watching your reply video, and this is a little football as well, I feel like first off, I told you straight up that I got that first fact wrong. Out of the facts that I was listing, I got it wrong. I misheard. And then I listened to 2 other shows that also referenced it, and they all had English accents. That's my excuse. I'm from the South here in Texas. Their English accents, 13 and 30, they're very close.
It's us. We're the problem, the English. It's
all you guys.
Look, it's all good, man. Look, we're gonna talk all things Spurs in a second. Big up Philip Randall, very generous there, saying ignore the haters and keep speaking facts. I, for one, am a fan. Listen, and do you know what, Philip? I really appreciate that. Do you know my understanding of this is I've watched a few YouTubers I've never watched before. I found out I didn't like their content. I don't go on again, right? That's what I've never understood. It's people that watch the YouTube videos that are in the chat but can't stop being abusive. And it's like, but you're watching. Like, if I didn't like Jacob's show, I won't watch it. Whether I agree with him or not, I won't watch it. But I do watch it because I disagree. I sometimes sit there watching Jacob and go, no, Jake, no. And other times I'm like, yeah, I really agree. But you know what? I don't ever message Jacob and go, you know what? You're a Anyway, big up Philip Randall. Really appreciate
that. That was going to be a great sound clip there if you would have said the sentence.
Oh, mate, I was nearly.
They would have clipped it and sent it to me and said, you hear what Savva said about you?
Yeah. Even though you're sitting here next to me. Yeah. Big up to Jerome as well. Always very generous. Jerome said, Savva, I just saw your message. Don't let ex-morons get to you. You do what you do best. Keep your videos and have your opinion. Let grown adults debate on your channel. Absolutely. Big up, Jerome. I will do. I just find it funny, Jerome, because I'm not on X. Like, the amount I get talked about on a platform where I don't actually exist is just amazing.
And I think it was about 6 months ago, I was sending you something that I'd seen on X because you weren't there. And I'm like, what is this? And you're like, bro, I don't know. These dudes have been at me since who knows when. And it's like, I don't understand, the hold a grudge. Even people I've never liked, like, I don't really hold a grudge unless there's something warranting of a grudge. And I'll be honest, it's just weird behavior. I think people want to indulge in things that make them feel a certain way. And when you are a polarizing object, Savva, and you are very line in the sand kind of guy, and sometimes people see that and they're like, well, maybe I can show him that this is this, or that this, and that this. And I think it's more of that, in my opinion, where people are trying to, can I convince him? Because I remember 2 years ago, I was telling you, no, I do think Kuti's a good player. He's a little rash right now, but he's playing with bozos. Wait till he has a good center back next to him. He'll look good. And then he did. And so it's like, but I've never again felt some type of way about you just because you're having a go at Romero.
Mate, listen, do you know what? It's all fine. I just find it so funny how many people think they know. Look, we're YouTubers, right? We're YouTubers. We put our voice and face on a camera. So when people go, oh my God, you YouTubers think you know it all. No, we're just the same as you, but we're on camera. Anyway, Jacob, let's talk Spurs. There are, including tomorrow, I just woke the pug up by shouting. Sorry, pug. And they look miserable.
Mine's deaf. Oh, so during the watch-alongs, he don't move a muscle. It's pretty weird.
Bless him. Jacob, there are 8 days of a transfer window to go. As always, when you get to the last 2 weeks of a window, every name in the world comes up, right? I've seen that we're after Rabiot. I've seen that we're after Locatelli. I've seen that we're after Yao Gomez, Matt O'Reilly. I've seen that we might want to put in a bid for Raheem Sterling.
Nice.
Do you expect anything to be done in this last 8 days? And do you think there's anything that has to be done? Like, i.e., we can't shut the window. There's got to be X play or X position filled in that last 8 days.
Well, I think to live up to the thing that they said to the fans was 3 signings, and at the juncture we had made 2 since then. So if they're supposed to be believed the PR that comes out of the club, I'll be really honest. This summer's been quite disappointing in regards to all ITKs. I think the here we go factors lost a little bit of its razzle dazzle, but in the end, Conor Gallagher did end up going to Atletico Madrid, so I guess the here we go is back. The stocks are back up. I don't know, but for me, I lost a lot of faith in Alistair Gold, this Paul O'Keefe guy that apparently is the ITK on Twitter for Spurs. He's tweeting about pensions and retirement plans for like 3 days when I'm like waiting for Ezzy news. So when we were talking about expectations with the window, they've already, what is the opposite of exceeded my expectations? Whatever that word is, I can't think of right now, is exactly what it's been.
Underwhelming. I mean, yes. Look, if we're going to be honest,
I'm not mad, but I am underwhelmed.
Right. See, I'm not mad because I'll tell you what, Jacob, I stopped being mad years ago, right? I stopped being mad in my early 20s and I'm now 41. But you're right. I've said this throughout the window, right? And I'll show you again now. Like, if I was to show anybody this at the beginning of the window, Jacob, if I said that at the beginning of the window, right, that's going to be our summer. Look, I might be wrong here, but I think 99% of Spurs fans would have gone, no way. That's something Fulham would do. That's something Brentford would do. That's why I think it's underwhelming. But what's underwhelming about it for you, Jacob?
Could you put that photo back up for just 1 second?
Yeah, sure. Where are we? There.
Well, I look at this, and before we signed him in February, so if you would have said this in January when that window closed, oh, don't worry, in the summer window, but we signed him in February, so I guess he's still technically part of this window. I don't know who Lucas Bergvall was. I've been highly impressed with him throughout the season. Now, I do keep up with Leeds, so I am familiar with Archie Gray. I do remember his journey from Bielsa calling him up when he was first with Leeds. I think he was like 15 at the time. So I've kept up with Archie Gray. Now, Timo Werner, I would say maybe this is an old graphic. Dominic Solanke, I would begin to question. But initially, when the Dominic Solanke thing was first rumored, I was pretty upset because it wasn't the name that I was wanting to hear. The more I looked into him, I have to be the first to admit, I didn't watch Bournemouth versus Luton Town. I didn't watch Bournemouth versus Wolves. I didn't watch Bournemouth versus all these other teams. Maybe when they played the big boys, sure, because I'm going on rival panels and stuff. But for me, Dominic Solanke was like, well, he scored all those goals. I look at the numbers, I would say, do I know he's better than Richarlison? But I did about 5 days of amateur research. I always say amateur research because I'm just a dude in Texas watching videos, watching highlights, watching this and that as much as I can get. But there's things highlights will tell you, regardless of the fact they cut out all the bad parts and only put the good parts. I always keep that in the back of my mind, but there's intangibles that you can see in the game footage. And after watching extensive footage of every single Dominic Solanke goal twice, all of his goals in the championship, there's aspects to his game that Richarlison just doesn't have. And all the things that Richarlison does have, i.e. the things that people say he does do good, aerial ability, hold up ability, hold up play, strong in the box. I mean, to be fair, Solanke did fall 3 times very, very easily in the box versus Leicester on Monday. But based off of the tape, I said, well, you couldn't make this kind of a tape with Richarlison. So I felt like it was an upgrade. But again, it goes back to answering your question. If you would have said this back in January, February, I would have asked what we're doing. Now, Odegaard, I feel like is a little bit of a wild card. But they're all kind of wild cards in that same regard. So it's like underwhelming is a way to describe it. Slightly, now, I am slightly disappointed, but I feel like Solanke filled that hole that I was hoping Tony would, like the striker. But I've been I'm biased because Tony is a player I've watched from the championship that I've often said we're looking for a Harry Kane backup replacement because his ankles could go. We don't know about his health all the time, and there was all those seasons where we really didn't have a backup striker, and I felt like Ivan Toney possessed all the abilities that we would have wanted to see in a off-brand Harry Kane. Obviously, you're never going to get a Harry Kane type of player, but a striker who's a big body, who can hold up play, link up with the wingers, and make his wingers better. And I felt Ivan Toney, that was my favorite part, is he made Johan Vissa and Ryan Mbeumo fantastic wingers because of the way he was able to link up with them. He even made Neil Maupay score goals. So that's the part to me where I feel like he does have things to his game that Dominic Solanke also has as well. Semenyo, number 22. I've watched him from Bournemouth for the last 2 years. I like him a lot.
I like him.
When you get a winger that can link up with a striker and they start to understand each other and the striker has the ability, like if Richarlison knows what Sonny's doing, I don't have faith that pass is always going to be completed. But I saw some bright things from Solanke. I saw a couple disappointing things from Solanke. But overall, I would just say, like, underwhelmed, not yet disappointed, because there is still time to make me very excited.
There's still time.
But I will be disappointed if this is it, or if it's another
19-year-old. Well, we'll come to that in a second. By the way, look, let me get this super chat. Listen, guys, girls, when you message and say you've missed my super chat, we haven't. We use StreamYard. I think, do you use StreamYard as well, Jacob? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you have StreamYard, it automatically saves the super chat for us. So we haven't forgotten it, I promise. I'm going to bring it up now. Big up, GB. Thank you. I said, Savva, I got bare love for Sav. No matter what you do in life, you get haters. Just ignore them. They're winning by you paying it attention. Well, listen, I'm not even on X, so I'm not even paying X attention, and they're still hating. So, you know that old saying of if you ignore them, they go away. Unfortunately, in 2024, it's not quite true. But GB, big up. I really appreciate you, my friend. Ethan Bates has become a channel member. Big up, Ethan. You've been watching for a while from what I've seen, and big up to you. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then Ethan Bates has come in, bro, too generous, and said, big up, Savva. I can't comment on how it must feel having to deal with that every day, as I haven't been through it myself. All I can say is you've built a community of great people to support you. Listen, I appreciate that. And that's why I keep going. That's why I'm not going to let them drive me away again. But it is tough, and I do appreciate it, Ethan. And more than anything, say what you want about me, but not my wife. Do you know what I mean? Not you, but just not the wife. There's no need for wives and kids to be involved in this. But big up, Ethan. Really appreciate you.
That is the line for me. Wife and kids. Yeah. Once you cross that's the one where I don't look back from.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Look, going on from what you said there, Jacob, I think one of the key things where I think certain people, and I'm fully chucking myself into this mix. You know me, I don't beat around the bush. Where certain people like me are disappointed is that we did move into the stadium, right? We did move into the game-changing stadium. Mm-hmm. We do have bigger revenue coming in, and it was kind of sold. It was sold to us. It wasn't kind of. The chairman said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I think that's where the disappointment from a lot of fans comes, is that we then get to a window here where we've just finished fifth, and you're thinking to yourself, right, kick on. Really kick on. And then you see a whole window full of kids, and it's, but in 5 years we'll be great. It's, well, when is the now? Because you don't need the massive stadium to buy kids. Fulham haven't got a massive stadium. They could buy the kids we've bought. Do you know what I mean? So do you think that's part of it, is that we've bought a lot of kids that everyone's banking on, but they don't really know how good they are?
So I think that is from a fan perspective. I try to look at it like, how is the club approaching this? Now, Lucas Bergvall was highly sought after from other big clubs that are trying to turn their ship around. Yeah. Dragushin, same thing. Papa Matasar, way back when we got him, I remember there being the scouts that were scouting him as well from other big clubs said, oh, you got one. That he wasn't yet on their radar. Now, Sarr is a whole different story because of where he's at now, but in regards to the kids, like Lucas Bergvall for me wouldn't have gone to a Fulham. So I don't think that saying like they would have gone to a Fulham. Now, Archie Gray was about to go to Brentford, but apparently Leeds didn't want to sell with Brentford. I don't know the exact in and out with that. I'm not going to pretend to, but I know that he was about to go to Brentford. He agreed to personal terms. He was down to go to Brentford. So you do have a point in regards to a lot of these kids. Yang Min Hyuk, he probably would have gone to anybody in the Premier League, and if you get that chance. So I do think you're right in some regards. I think that there's a little bit of with Lucas Bergvall specifically, I just think that, look, Barcelona were in for him. They couldn't guarantee anything. We were more like, hey, we'll chuck you right on in there. And that was more of a prospect selling point for him. So I think there is something to be said about like the quality of young kids. We're not just buying a kid, or we're not just pushing our youth and forcing it upon us. As much as I kind of want a couple of players to be forced upon us, I do want us to force more lengths here. But
I think the key thing for me is, especially if we look in central midfield, I think that we knew from January that Bergvall was joining in the summer. We knew that, right? For me, I was kind of like, okay, cool. This kid, I've only seen highlights. I don't think anyone can really sit unless they live in Sweden and say they've watched the Swedish league inside out. But you're thinking, okay, cool. Well, there's an 18-year-old that we've got next year. He can come on. He can start getting some game time and we'll progress him. Then when the next signing in the January window is Archie Gray, who's another central midfielder, another 18-year-old, that's the moment for me where I went, do we need both? Like, surely you could get one and then get a more experienced player to play alongside him. Because if it doesn't work, Jacob, it is all, unfortunately, it doesn't matter whether I like Ange or not. It doesn't matter if you love him or not. Unfortunately, if this doesn't work and we are lightweight in midfield, this falls on his shoulders because he's chosen two midfielders to come in, both 18, both with no top-level experience in any league.
I would agree to a certain extent. So for me, where the blame that I put 100% on Ainge regarding players is Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke, because he has came out and said, like, I am attached to this. So to me, every success, every failure of Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke are going to be rested upon him in regards to responsibility or guilt. That's how I feel about those two players. Now, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, I mean, Antonio Conte said the same thing when we bought Jed Spence. This is the way the club want to buy the players, is you buy the young players, you hope that they turn out into something good, like a Gareth Bale, right? Like a Luka Modric. That's been our identity, if you will, if there is one to say that we have. And I mean, even, I get banter from United fans. Oh, you're just our feeder club. Like, stay in your lane. So it's like, I kind of know what to expect in that regard. So Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, I don't know. Timo Werner, I don't know if this is, it's just a gray area. Like, I can't definitively say this is Ainge's guy. Ainge is like, yeah, I scouted and that's my, but he said that about Brendan Johnson. He said that was my number one target. He said that about Dominic Solanke as well. That this summer, that was was a striker and he was on the list of my top targets. So clearly he wasn't number one, number two, but he was somewhere in there. And so Ainge just signed off on Solanke. Like, I can definitively draw that line. And that's where I don't place as much blame with these managers, because I'm like, I know how my club works. We've done it to Conte. Look, I didn't mean for the fireworks, but we did it to Conte.
I like it.
We did it to for effect, dramatic effect for the boom and the.
Don't! I'm already in trouble today for booms that I didn't even. Like, Jacob, do you know what? Just really funny, really quickly, going off on a tangent. Do you remember I phoned you up once about a year ago and said, Jacob, I know nothing about cameras. I know nothing about microphones. Do you remember? And I was like, help me. What do I buy? And there's people on X going, look at Savva dropping in all these sound effects and graphics on his video. And I'm like,
the overlay with the, I saw it. I went back and watched it before I joined. Like, and it was like a photo with tie-dye. It was kind of crazy. I mean,
mate, I can just about use Excel, but don't tell my boss because he thinks I'm a whiz at it. Look, we'll go into that, and I agree with you. I think
don't
the
tell
only
Daniel
difference
Levy
is
either. He'll hire you.
The only difference is, I think, is that the problem is that Ange keeps coming out and saying, my players, my players, my players. We'll get into that in a second, but just quickly, Ian MacArthur, look, I'm going to respectfully disagree, Ian. When we're saying it's every fan's right to be impatient for success, I'm sorry, but after 24 years, can we really call it impatience? At what year can we say, yeah, we've got to have success because we keep doing this? And when you're saying it must be tempered with realism, just think back to the first 10 games of last season. Well, that was the point of my facts the other day, was that, the new manager bounce was great, and then we fell off a cliff. But look, Ian, for me, I've been a Spurs fan since the early 80s, right? And this 24 years under Levy, we've seen one League Cup. If that's not patience, I don't know what it is. So I actually take it quite offensively when people say, be patient. Hang on, I'm running out of years. If I wait another 24 years, I'm nearly 70. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I think it's important to state that levels of tolerability are going to be different for everybody. We are human beings who are all unique, chemical, sentient beings. So to say my level of patience is the level of patience everybody should have, or you should have, that's why I've always said with my show, what I say is I can only tell you what I think and what I feel and what I see. And what you do with that, how you feel about it, that's up to you. And that's up to the viewer, because I've never felt like it's appropriate to say, oh, well, I'm okay with this much patience level, Savva, therefore you should be too. Everyone's pain tolerance is different as well. Some people can't do, a line of a tattoo on their arm. Some people could do their entire body, including their face. I am somewhere in the middle. I'm not going to do my face. I don't want to do my whole body, but I'm okay with the pain. It doesn't hurt that bad. So it's like everyone deals with things differently. And when it comes to supporting a club, it is no different. When it comes to waiting for success or believing in a project, it's no different. And that's why I've always said, anyone who subscribes to United Spurs of America, I've always said, because I get people that come on my channel and say, oh, Savva doesn't know this. How dare he say this? How dare? And I say, let Savva be Savva. He feels how he feels about the club because of his experiences with the club. Who are we to say how Savva should or shouldn't feel about his club? It's his club after all. And I don't like people telling me how I should or shouldn't feel about my club. And I think that's what it comes down to, is like, hey, I'm patient with this much, right? The comment I don't remember the name, but this amount of patience is okay with me. You have your different level of patience. I think there's just needs to be some kind of understanding that we are all our own individual, right?
Sorry, right, in terms of Excel skills, Bill Gates, Savva, and Dan Levy. Listen, I think I might put Bill Gates first. I don't know why. I don't know what makes me think that. And then Daniel Levy's an accountant. If he's not good with Excel, I don't know who is. By the way, big up to Adekunle in the chat. I hope you're well, my friend. Please keep smashing the like button, people. We've got over 200, but there's nearly 500 of you in here. And guys, we're only 150 away from 13,500, so please do smash that button. Just a comment I saw that I wanted to bring up. And again, Cam, I think it's really important when we do this to talk about context. I think last season, when people were saying for Ange to play the kids, it was when we had injuries and you didn't have many options. So I'll give an example of when Romero and Van der Ven were both injured or suspended, you had Dorrington and Phillips. One of them surely could have played. One of them. I'm not saying both together, but one of them could have got some minutes. I think there's a difference. And look, Jacob, what I would say is this. There's lots of people. Thank you, Cam. What I would say is this. Oh, by the way, just quickly, Tot Spurs has become a YouTube channel member. Big up to you, Tot Spurs. Really appreciate it, my friend. You win a spanner. That's what you win for becoming a member. You get a spanner. I don't know why, but it's there. So big up to you. By the way, Scott Nelson says, Savva, you can't pin the blame of the last 24 years on Ange. I mean, I don't think I've ever blamed the last 24 years on Ange. I don't know how anyone would contemplate what I've said as that. I want a trophy. I want a trophy. Well, I'm a football fan. I want to see my club win. So, yeah, get my toys right out of that pram.
I want a trophy too. I'm still upset about that damn Carabao final. That's the last final we've been at. And that was with Jose.
I know.
Or, excuse me, Ryan Mason, who I'm convinced is the mole. If you didn't know, now you know. Ryan Mason is, in fact, the mole.
Yeah, Anthony Clark, big up. One of my channel members who is an Arsenal fan says Calafiori and Marine over 70. Gray and Odeberg for 70. Listen, I'd love to sit here and mock him, but I agree. I agree with you. I just feel we could spend money so much better. But, Jacob, what I want to ask you is this. Lots of people now are saying, look, this is a youth project. And the club have never said it, and just never said it. But lots of fans are now saying it's a youth project and our kids are generational, blah, blah, blah. Do you think people would have more patience? People like me, I'll put myself there again, would have more patience with a youth route if we actually saw that it was a youth route. So, i.e., if the first game of the season against Leicester, you saw Mikey Moore on the right wing and you saw Lancashire up top, or you saw Hall in midfield, for example, or 3 or 4 of those kids on the bench, I might then turn around and go, okay, right, this is what you're doing. This is where you're going with it. My worry was at 7 o'clock on Monday when that team sheet was announced, and after all summer from everyone going, these kids are the best kids ever.
Myself included. I've gone on record saying Mikey Moore is our best right winger. That's either an indication that the club is very poorly run in that regard, or Mikey Moore is a world star athlete that I just wasn't sure. But I agree with you in regards to what is going on with those kids, because they were then playing the next day for that name is crazy. I've seen it a few times. That name's outlandish.
I know.
No, so without getting too distracted from that, I am curious about that too. And I think that's why we actually did go and buy guys like Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray in that regard, because I'm seeing next summer we're going to have 2 other youngsters that are going to be joining the squad in Luka Vuskovic and Yang Min Hyuk. He's going to join us in January. I would assume we're probably going to loan him back out unless we're depleted on numbers. Who knows what things are going to look like in January. But I just see it as you get some youth that are better than the youth that we have. Jamie Donnelly clearly wasn't ready to play in the midfield in an attacking position. At least that's how Ainge saw it. And he tried him at left back. And for me, I actually kind of thought I'd like to see more of it. Same thing with Will Lancashire. I'd like to see more of it. Now, with Mikey Moore is a little bit different, because this for me was one of those, I get very hyped when I see a 16-year-old shooting from outside the box, because we were so reluctant to do that last year. Mikey Moore didn't give a damn where he was on the pitch. He was going to take a shot at it. He didn't care who was open. He was going to take a shot at it. And this says, he's got the mindset of a guy like, how does Ronaldo get to where he's at? With a certain mindset. There's a certain belief you have to have in yourself, and a cockiness, a confidence. And like, I like that to a degree. And I think it was very crazy username, but I just think that I wonder, is there a guy that could be as good as Lucas Bergvall in our academy? I don't think so. I subscribe to Spurs play. I watch it. Now, Tyrese Hall, I love Tyrese Hall. When I watch the academy, he stands out every single time. And that's what I look for when I watch academy. Which of these kids stands out? And I like him. But then I look at that position, and we are very flooded. There's senior players not making the bench. And, I don't rate Giovanni Lo Celso, but say what you will, even if we're trying to window shop the guy, that he didn't make the bench. There's a lot of names that didn't make the bench. So I'm a little sympathetic with the fact that there is only so amount of players you can put out there.
Well, this is what I want to come on to. I want to come on to this, Jacob. So let me just make sure I get the right. Bear with me 1 second. Was it this? No. Was it this? No. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. You know when you got so many overlays. Look, so this was the ages of the Tottenham squad, right? This was the ages. Someone sent this to me. This was the ages of the Tottenham squad. And you can see there's a lot of youngsters there. There's a lot of youngsters there. And then you go up and you start getting a little bit older. When you look at
I would be right there in between Son and Fraser Forster. That makes me feel kind of old. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, but when you look, my point to it was this. If you actually look at this older section here, which is only there's about 10 names there. Is there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names there, right? And Son, Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison, Vicario, Romero, and Solanke. So we talk about the project youth. 7 of the starters are all 26 or over. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. My worry is that we're doing what we did, Jacob. And it all goes back to how long people have supported Spurs. It goes to how old people are. We did this years ago with many young players. And I'm going to show you what I mean. This can go on forever, but when we look at this years ago, right? when people are having the same conversation, they put these posts out that all of our kids are magnificent. Give it 2 years, give it 3 years. I heard it about Craig. I heard it about Charlie Sayers. I heard it about Sunsop Bell, Santiago. Skip's just gone as well. We heard it about Tommy Carroll way back when. We heard it about Tanganga. He's just left and gone to Millwall. We heard about Carl Walker-Peters. And he's just gone to, or he went many years ago to Southampton. We heard it about Dennis Churkin, who went to Sunderland. We heard it when we bought Jack Clark, when we bought Ryan Sessegnon. So can you understand why fans like me, when everyone's praising and raving about kids, why I'm slightly hesitant? Because I've had 20 years of seeing this kid's going to be the best, that kid's going to be the best, when all these kids come through together. And if you actually look at this, it's actually someone has put at the bottom there. I don't know if you can see. Look, they've put a team out of this is what our team could be. Gray, Bergvall, and Hall in the middle. Moore, Odeberg, and Lancashire. Realistically, Jacob, no matter how much we want to talk, and the goalkeeper's a kid as well. No matter how much we want to talk up, you're not going to see a midfield three at any one time of Bergvall, Gray, and Hall in a Premier League game with Odeberg, with Moore, and with Lancashire. So
definitely not this year. Definitely not this year or next year.
Definitely not. So can you see? I've got nothing against the youth, Jacob. But for me, Johnson's shit, right? We'll come to that in a minute. Play Mikey Moore. I'd rather he dropped Johnson, played Mikey Moore. And you know what? I say, do you know what? Fair play, Ange. Fair play. You're playing him. If Mikey Moore F's up, you go, he's a 17-year-old kid. He's learning. When Brennan Johnson does, a £50 million signing, I go, no sympathy for you. You're 23, 24 years of age. Do you see what I'm saying?
No, but I agree with you. On that standpoint, what you suggest, I would have done as well. I said it on my pre-match show that Mikey Moore, I'm starting him at right. I said, if Odeberg's got his license to work, you put him in immediately. I don't care.
Agreed.
Anybody other than Brennan Johnson, because in 12 months of being at this club, I've seen zero progression to his game. If anything, you could say there was a regression.
I agree.
It was interesting for me because all preseason, I was like, yeah, I'm done with him. There's no progression. He doesn't look better. He looks the same. All preseason, that's how Brennan Johnson looked to me. And then in the first 15, 20 minutes of the match, I remember during my watch along, I was like, wow, he's gotten stuck in twice already. And then boom, that third one, I was like, wow, Brennan Johnson, what's come over you? And then he did the move, I'm sure you remember, where he could just keep running straight. I heard about your pace. I heard you're the guy that can burn everybody, right? Now show it to me. The guy's already behind you. You should be able to beat him in a foot race. Kick the ball and run. And instead he slips on the ball. And that was the part I was like, all right,
but
so
Jacob,
he's gotten stuck in three times, but maybe he's still himself.
Jacob, when he slipped though, it wasn't that he just slipped. It was that he was trying to turn back into trouble. Like you, I said, oh my God, look at the grass. Look how much grass you've got. Run.
That's what he's good at, right? That's what I'm told he's good at.
I hear he's good at it.
I want to put on the other counterpoint to it though, because I agree with you in all aspects regarding Brennan Johnson, and that's what I made sure to say in that video that kind of kicked this whole YouTube rumor mill grapevine thing, which was that. Like, I agree with a lot of things that you say. I disagree with a lot of things that you say. And I think that's what makes a beautiful fan base, is one that can disagree, have intelligent, coherent conversations about the players, football, tactics, manager, club. And that's the great part for me. But where I do try to put myself in Ainge's shoes is, he's like, well, 12 months ago at deadline day, I said, just give me this guy. And I tied myself to it in the public. Like, he legitimately tied himself to Brennan Johnson in my eyes. And you know me, I'm reluctant to place blame on managers. That's how I was with Jose. That's how I got with Poch. That's how I was with Conte, except for Nuno. I mean, he kind of asked for it. But everybody else, I was very understanding of the situation that they come in. I understood that the house is pretty dilapidated at this point, regardless of the shiny exterior. And I knew that it was not going to be an easy process. So with every manager, I've gotten like, the hope. They're going to bring in some players that they see. Jose Mourinho, special one. And every player he asked for, he got the third, fourth option of that player. I mean, he wanted Bruno Fernandes. They got him Gedson Fernandes. I don't know if that was a clerical mistake. So
Man.
I'm kind of tying 2 points in here together about the game and about
Jacob,
the
I
club.
agree. You know what? You know how I feel about how the club have been run. That I think the problem with that is, I think Ange, it's kind of I like it and I don't. It's this kind of, hey, I'm a winner. This is what I do. I win in my second season. I want to win titles. I love that. But, and this is the big thing I've been saying all summer, Jacob. Ange saying, I want to win now. Build up your mentality, Spurs fans. Where is it? Great. That's up there, that mentality. But then your signings need to be up there as well. Your actions need to match your words. And unfortunately, his words were here and the signings we've made, whether they're for the future or not, are down there. I said this the other day. It's the equivalent of me ringing up my wife and saying, have you always wanted to go to Mauritius? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, babe. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I don't call her babe. I don't know why I said that. I am not a babe type guy. I won't tell you what I call her. But it's like we go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to book us 2 weeks. 2 weeks in Mauritius. All right? Book your calendar. Put it in your diary. And then me coming home that night and going, there you go, love. There's 2 weeks in Brighton in England. There's 2 weeks on the coast of Southampton. What happened?
Yeah, the seagulls are friendly.
Well, I'm building up to Mauritius in 5 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so if I had said,
she might understand if she has eyes on the bank balance and she knows that you're genuinely trying to save it. You know, I could see it in that metaphor.
If I was the sixth richest person in the world, she wouldn't be saying that, would she?
No. And if you were getting like a per diem for being with her as well, then I could. All the blame falls on you. So I do agree with you in that regard. And when you bring up the picture of all those kids, I think you can continually go back and go back and go back. And it was always, this is the next hot thing. And I haven't really bought into any of that until Spurs play came out. Because then I've seen them. I don't live in England. I can't go to the grounds and watch the kids play. So I remember I used to comment on Twitter all the time, show me the youth games. Stop posting just lineups. Stop posting scores. Let me see these kids play. Because I used to work for FC Dallas in the MLS here in America. And they're one of the staples in MLS for U.S. men's national team in regards to homegrown talent. They are one of the best academies in America. Them and Philadelphia Union, if anyone cares. They're the two best at it. So, you know, like Chris Richards, the center back for Crystal Palace, he came from FC Dallas Academy.
I like him.
Winston McKinney came from FC Dallas Academy. There's a lot of kids that came from FC Dallas Academy. That's my point is. So I've always been an admirer of youth academies, how the pathway to the first team goes. And I was always disappointed with Tottenham because I felt like there was no pathway to be there. And there was no identity at the club to even create that pathway. Because if you have a guy who's 15 years old and he's been playing the number 10 in a certain tactical setup, and then you ask him to play a number 10 in a Jose Mourinho setup, and then that's a different ballpark. It's a different game, right? Like a 10 for Ainge is different than a 10 from Jose. So it's like, those are two different roles. And like, how does the kid know what he's trying to be if we don't even know what we are? And so I've always understood that was broken. And last summer was when we started to repair that bridge, in my opinion. And now we are starting to get to a point where we're going to start bringing these kids over that bridge, if that makes sense. That's my view on it, because it's been a broken system.
I've got nothing against the youth. I think a lot of people always think I've got something against youth. I haven't. My thing is this. If you're going to buy loads of youth players, just play them. Sod it. You know what? If we started against Everton with Odegaard left, Mikey Moore right, and Bergvall and Gray in the middle, at least I turn around and go, okay, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this route, but he's going down the youth route, right? Because I think it's shocking how much they charge the fans considering they're doing that. But that's a different story that we don't really need to get into. But at the moment, what I feel like is everyone's talking about a youth route, Jacob, but without it actually happening. So during pre-season, everyone has gassed up Donnelly. Oh my God, Donnelly. Oh my God, Lancashire. Oh my God, Moore, Devine, Hall, Phillips. Phillips has just gone on loan today to Stoke City. Right? Again, another young centre-back we bought last year. And the reason I'm going to say this, Jacob, is if Ashley Phillips isn't being kept at Spurs, right? When we've really got 3 senior centre-backs, because Davis naturally is a left-back. You've got Dragusin, Kuti, and Van der Ven, right?
Love me some Kuti.
If you've got those 3, surely, if we are going down this youth route, wouldn't you say, well, hang on, we've got 4 competitions. Let's keep Phillips here. Let's let him train with those centre-backs each week, and let's play him in Europa League and League Cup. That's why I can't understand. If we're talking about a youth route, but all of the youth players are actually going out on loan again, do you see the discrepancy?
I do agree. My interpretation of how the preseason and that in regards with Ashley Phillips in the center back position specifically, that 4th spot, do you want Ben Davies being your 4th center back? I've been asking for the last 5 years. I'm about to pop my eyes out with spoons if I need to keep seeing Ben Davies as a left back. Then we got Reguilon, and he was fun to watch for about 3 matches. And then I was like, he just kind of runs around more. He's just faster than Ben Davies. That's really it. And so that 4th position for me is obviously a huge question mark. Now, Ainge
do you think they need to buy someone there then? If he's not kept Phillips, do you think he needs to buy?
I think Ainge knew he was going to get not as much as we wanted and not as much as we need. And so he said, let me see who can play a center back in the 4th role out of Skip and Archie Gray. To me, that was kind of why now in hindsight, why I'm looking back now that we've sold Skip, we've loaned Dorrington.
Isn't that worrying, Jacob?
Not Dorrington.
Isn't that worrying? Last summer, he goes and buys Ashley Phillips, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, this young player!"
Oh, that's a club signing, I'm pretty sure, because it was we were arguing with Blackburn, and then they asked too much, and we were like, "No, thank you," and then they lowered their price. If I remember that deal correctly, that to me stinks of a Tottenham sign. I don't know for sure. I'm not saying I know it was Ainge. I know it was Tottenham as a club, but that to me is stinky of the club and the new scouting system, Johan Lange, and the way that we're doing that, buy, loan him back. You know, we did it with Vuskovic, Bergvall, Sarr, Udogi, Yang Hyuk, and I think there's another one I'm missing for sure. But to me, I saw this preseason as Ainge saying, well, shit, let me see which one of these players could offer me something in that 4th role position. Hopefully I'm not in that position, but you might be. We were in that position last year. So he has been in that position.
Though, Jacob, right? Bang on. Thank you. That's the point. First of all, I think it's concerning that Ashley Phillips is a centre half, and yet the first 3 games of preseason, he started Gray and Skip there. Skip, who was leaving the club. They would have known Skip is leaving the club, by the way. They would have known they're going to...
But if Skip was a better center back than Archie Gray, I think then there would have been a saying of like, okay, either use his money to get something or ask for more, or keep him here because I need that 4th option center back. Because he doesn't rate Phillips, clearly. And I don't think Phillips on the ball, pace, he's ready at all. I think Ainge sees the same thing.
He's a better centre back than Gray and Skip. That's the point. Whether
Skip,
or not,
yes, for sure. I know that based off of preseason only. Gray's a hell of an athlete. I've seen him play left back and right back, and those neither one are his positions, and he excelled at and played like 40 games at it, something like that. So,
but the thing is, again, if you actually go back and look at Archie Gray's stats from last year, from when he played at right back, they weren't impressive. I'm not knocking him, but moving into centre half, it's okay. When he played centre half, he played against Hearts, QPR, and Vissel Kobe.
Bayern.
Right? No, he didn't play centre back against Bayern. He played centre mid
centre back.
Bayern,
I thought you said centre half. Sorry, my bad.
So centre half was Hearts, QPR, and Vissel Kobe. Now, in those games, Tottenham will have 78% of the ball. So you can play a player like that as centre back, knowing that most of the time what they're going to be doing is receiving the ball, bringing it out, and having time to ping passes. There's a huge difference between that and us getting a couple of injuries and going, right, you're up against Ollie Watkins today. Go and play centre up. Like, that's the difference for me, is that if Spurs are serious and if we want to compete, leaving either Skip or Gray as a 4th choice centre half really does concern me. But you're right, he can't rate Phillips. That's why I think we might see a centre back come in who can cover right and left back in the next 7 days. I truly
We've
do.
been gently linked with a few center backs, with a few right backs, and then this is where I think the waters for me get really murky, because as much as I want to see the Jed redemption arc, that I believe he can do it, you have to have a contingency plan in the event that he does what he's done since he's been here, which is fail to live up to expectations. And that's my worry with Jed Spence, because everyone and their mother said, we need a backup fullback. We have especially when we let Emerson, no one rated Emerson, a couple of people rated Emerson Royale, but when you let Emerson Royale go, you obviously got to fill that with somebody. And to me, it was just the easy shoe-in. Well, we got Jed Spence still. That's kind of what we bought him for, right? This young prospect that was hopefully going to be something for us. Well, now's the time for him to prove it. But I'm worried about the contingency plan behind that. Because who's our backup left back? It looks to be Jed Spence. Who's our backup right back? It looks to be Jed Spence. Now, then this is where now if it's not Jed Spence, say you get a situation, these are all hypotheticals, obviously, but real situations like these occurred last year. So you do start, as Spurs fans, we are built to start shuffling our pieces. Okay, 3 at the back. Do I go Van de Ven out on the left back to cover for Destiny? And then you bring Jagusin in, but Jagusin's really a right-sided center back. So like now him and Romero, well, what do we do there? And it's like, you get all these complications that start happening in that regard. And for me, I just hope that what Archie Gray has shown is that if we get in that position, we can withstand that kind of a pressure. Because for me, he was very versatile. And that's the thing. It's like the standards are already in hell. And this is why I don't get too bent out of shape when we do these mediocre moves. Because when the bar is in hell, and that's where it's been, the only thing you can't keep going down. It's literally impossible for us to so I feel like all we can do is try to just keep improving on players. Improve. In the next 2 years, does Højbjerg give us more, or does Archie Gray give us more? Does Emerson Royale give us more, or does Jed Spence maybe a question mark if we brought in a fullback that could, Arsenal are bringing in Ben White, who's a center back who could play right back. Calafiori, center back who can play left back.
Yeah, I agree.
I would like to see some of that. I think that's what Van de Ven kind of is.
Someone like this guy as well. Someone like Gertruda from Final.
Gertruda.
See, but
Sean,
do you know what?
Used to talk about him all the time as a 6 as well.
Oh yeah, listen, I don't disagree with you, right? I really don't disagree with you. What I do disagree with is, that's a contradiction, isn't it? I don't disagree with you 50% of it. The other 50% is, sure, I get it, but I think the aim has to be to close the gap at some point. It doesn't have to be right now, but over the next couple of years, surely the aim is to close the gap on those 3 big clubs. And let's be honest, at the moment, with all the will in the world, we're nowhere near Liverpool, Arsenal, and City. We're not. As much as we hate it, as much as we all want to
over 38 matches, you're right.
Oh,
I
for
agree.
sure. In a
over 38
game,
matches, plus other comps.
Of course,
I would agree.
But over 38 games, we're nowhere near them. And my question is, when you move on an Emerson Royale and you move on a Brian Hill and you move on a Højbjerg, and the 3 replacements are Spence at the right back, Archie Gray in the middle, and Timo Werner, who came in. That was the thing everyone said when Werner came in was, oh, he's better than Hill. Again, for me, I don't think
club stopgap. We always do stopgaps.
But I don't think we've tried to bridge the gap. What we've done is maybe gone from there to there. I don't feel like we've actually gone and, you know what?
No, we haven't done anything to get us forward. We've done enough to maintain, I think. That's my opinion, that we've done enough to maintain 5th. If everybody starts having horror shows and injuries regards, hey, 4th might be talking to me nicely. But I think 5th, 6th is where I see us still with this window.
Let's have this chat. I think you think 5th. I think Spurs are going to finish 7th. And I'll tell you why I think Spurs are going to finish 7th. This is where all the negative comments come. Not really for people in the chat now, but playback. For me, I think you add in 1 extra competition. Okay? You've added in extra competition. Hopefully, in the 2 competitions that we got knocked out on early last year, hopefully we go further in them as well. You're now adding in a lot of games. You're adding in a lot of games as opposed to just 1. And when I look at that, and I look at, and hear me out, The first 10 games of last season were unbelievable. Deep down, Jacob, as much as we all like to sit here and go, you know what, after 10 games, we're going to be top of the league, 8 wins, 2 draws. I don't think it's going to happen. And without that, it puts a lot of pressure on the back half of the season. So Spurs are going to have to not only start well again to be up there, but maintain it throughout the season. That's my worry. And again, Daniel Levy, listen, you have to talk about Daniel Levy. If he starts seeing the teams in 9th, 10th, I'm not saying we will be, but if at any point he sees we're in 9th or 10th and there's an 8, 9, 10 point gap to the top 4, we know, Jacob, whether we like it or not, whether it's right or wrong, Daniel Levy has the propensity to pull the trigger. He does. And this is why when people talk about... He loves
that new manager bounce.
When he talks about... Yeah. When we talk about 3-year plan, 5-year plans, is Daniel Levy going to sit there if we are ever 10th or 11th and go, it's okay, this is a plan? I don't think he will, Jacob. I don't think he will.
But see, the history would tell us that yes, he will not. Maybe I'm a hopeless romantic in this sense. I have hope that the future has got to be brighter than today. And when I became a Tottenham fan, the future was starting to look kind of bright. And then we did the whole thing with Poch, and then we became like a Champions League, and it was like, wow, cool, we're so cool. We're really going to take... I'm so glad I jumped on the Tottenham. I'm not a bandwagon fan, because that's what I didn't want to be as a foreigner. You know, you choose your club. I didn't want to choose the most successful club. I wanted something that spoke to me. Clint Dempsey goes to Tottenham. I'm like, what's a Tottenham? I just heard what a Fulham is. Let me look at what a Tottenham is.
That's funny.
Like, cool,
we were saying what's a Dempsey. So, it's all good, man.
I was over here shouting deuce deuce with my sunglasses.
I liked Clint Dempsey. Do you know what?
Oh,
I think
love
Clint Dempsey is the ultimate squad player. I don't think he's the best player I've seen. I don't think he's the worst. But you know what? You know what you're going to get. He pops up with goals and he gives everything every game. I'd have him in this squad. Look, Jacob,
I love his attitude as a guy, like as a dude. From Nacogdoches, Texas as well, so slightly my neck of the woods. I love me some Clint Dempsey. So that's how it started. And like I've rid the wave. We were up and we were up. And then it was like after the Champions League final, we start doing this. And then we're like, okay, well, we still got Harry Kane, in my opinion, the best striker in the whole world. I don't care what anybody say. I'm biased. I'm okay with that. But we start doing this, and then it's like we're trying to chase that upward trajectory we were back on. So bring in the guy that never loses trophies. And I bought into it. I said, okay, give me Jose. Maybe he can rescue this thing, and we can win something finally. And it never happened. So for me, I just I want to see it. I need to see it. Again, patience level is different for everybody. You've been watching and supporting since the 80s. I wasn't born until 1990, let alone playing the game until 1994. So by the time I started watching it, I mean, I remember watching Brazil teams like the 2000 Brazils, but I didn't watch club. I didn't watch, you know what I'm saying? So like people experience things differently and feel differently about it. So I would say if I go through another, what would you say, 20 years of this? Then I might be the guy he's negative. He hates Spurs. He hates Tottenham. They're not giving me what I want.
Do you know what I love, Jacob? Do you know what I love about it? When people say this, right, this is a line I get all the time, which I love, is, oh, you're so negative. I don't want to see you celebrating when we win a trophy. Now, this I find hilarious. Like, I was at the 1991 FA Cup final. Right? As a youngster, I was taken to the 87 FA Cup final, right? I was at FA Cup finals when I was 5 years of age, Jacob. I was at
You're probably thinking it's going to be great when I get older.
Listen.
Like, imagine the FA Cup final when I'm able to drink a beer, right?
Mate, in the 91 FA Cup final, I'm watching Lineker. I'm watching Gaza. I'm watching Mabba. This is brilliant. Listen, all these people that I don't want to see you celebrating, don't they realize that the reason I want better players is for success? Like, I don't, for lack of a better words, I'm not negative for no reason. I'm negative because I want to win things. Look, Jacob, how long have you got? I know you need to jump soon.
I got another 11 minutes.
Okay, I want to show you this then. Just before I do, really quickly, I should get some super chats. Big up Mark Cook. Big up Mark. Love you, dude. He's been a channel member for 9 months. Said the only channel to watch for all the facts. Please make sure to sub to both these gentlemen and show the love. That's the first time I've been called a gentleman today. That's a far cry from paedophile. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate that. Please do keep subscribing. We're only, as I said, just roughly 150 away from 13,500. Alexander Valaris, big up to you, my friend. Thank you so much. He said, my dad's ancestors are from Smyrna, ND. My mum's Rhodes.
Oh, Smyrna. That's a very great film. Very sad tragedy that occurred in Smyrna, but...
Oh, really? I can't say I know anything about it. I'm so sorry. Rhodes is in Greece. I get it.
It was like when part of Turkey was a part of Greece, and then the Turkish people came and made it not part of Greece, basically. And then the Americans just watched from a boat instead of helping, like a bunch of jerks. That's at least what the movie taught me, anyway.
Those bloody Greeks, and I can say that because
I'm married to a Greek. I'm an honorary Greek.
Okay, you're one of us. It's funny. I always say I'm half Greek, and my wife's like, "There's nothing Greek about you other than your nose." I'm like, "Oh, cheers. You married me."
No, I would say there's some. But I'll tell you this Greek characteristic about you: when you talk passionately, people think you're angry. It's like, no, he's just talking. Every Greek man, I'll never forget when my wife and I were leaving Greece, and there was an old lady that came out and she was speaking Greek to us and was like really adamantly saying something. I thought she was mad at us for like walking through her driveway or something. And she was literally just saying, my wife was like, no, she said, thank you for visiting Greece. Please come back. And there's like disgruntled looking guys that'll talk all mean. But as soon as you just say Kalimera, Kalispera, yeah, man, people think Greeks are more angry than they are. And I'll stick up for y'all out here because I've been to Greece. I love it. One of my favorite countries.
Yeah, man. Listen, I love Greece, and I whenever I go there, I tan ridiculously well, so it's lovely. So I'm just trying to do the redirect for when you finish. There you go. That's done. Save that. So that's done for you, bro.
Thank you.
Listen, let's bring this up. Hang on. I think I've still got super chats. Big up Phil P in the house. I said vote Lexit. Levy out. What was it? Levy and Enoch out, or whatever that is.
Levy exit.
Levy exit. Brilliant. Yeah. It's always Lexit Day. By the way, I burnt myself. I'm not sure if anyone can see why I'm shielding myself.
Oh, shit.
I burnt myself. Oh, my God. I was getting something out the oven, and my pug was under my feet. So I nearly slipped. I started kind of pushed him away with my foot, and as I went back, I slipped, and my face hit the side of the oven.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Bad times, man. And my pug was like, I'll lick it better. Oh, cheers, mate. Big up, Phil P. We love you, dude. He said, huge love, Savva Jacob in chat. Big up, bro. Really, really love you. Big up to Ethan Bates. Very generous again. Has said, Yorel Hato at Ajax is only 18, but could be great cover for centre-back, left-back. He started 33 times for Ajax last season, with most at centre-back and 6 games at left-back. Similar pace to VDV. Recommend a watch. Ethan Bates, funny enough, someone actually mentioned this guy to me last week, because I saw someone else was after him. I can't remember who it was, but someone else has recommended him as well. So thank you so much for that. I've not seen him play.
I'll have to look into him.
I've not seen him. I might have seen him play inadvertently, but I'll go and check him out. By the way, thank you to Ajax. They were part of a 5-team acca I had tonight that won me 500 quid. So thank you to Ajax. Thank you to Chelsea as well. Chelsea were in that ACCA.
See, that's how Spurs operate with these youngsters. They're an ACCA. We're trying to make sure that we hope they all hit. If they don't, we're screwed. But if they all hit, we might win the lottery.
Yeah. If you say so. Right. Here's what I wanted to show you before you went. Hang on. Let's get rid of that comment. Big up to everyone in the chat. Keep smashing that like button. Thank you. We've had 23 subscribers tonight. Much love. Go over and subscribe to Jacob. If one of my
like 70 away from 5K, by the way. So almost at 5K.
Right. Hang on. I'll tell you what. Let's do this now. Jacob. Sorry. One of my mods. Hang on. No, let me. Jacob, send me in the private chat your link to your channel. I'll do this now. Guys, we're all Spurs, right? Whether I like a YouTuber, don't like a YouTuber, disagree with them, agree with them, subscribe to everyone. I'm a huge fan of that. Listen, I am going to put Jacob's link in the chat please, 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 let's get that 70. There's 474 of you. So 400 of you, don't have to worry. But 70 of you, can you go over there? Jacob, please tell me, hopefully, that starts clicking down for you. Please let me know if people start doing that. Where are we? Yeah, so there is the link in the chat. There it is. Please,
I appreciate that.
Let's get 70. Let's get someone to 5K and get them to celebrate. When someone, I mean, Jacob. Jacob, this is what I wanted to show you. This is going to be an interesting one, right? So this is our 11 from the other day, right? So we all know the 11 that lined up. And then these are the 9 subs that we had. And I put a question out on my YouTube yesterday saying, with these exact 2 pictures, saying, well, this is all very interesting because Basuma's got to come back. So let's just assume, we know Bentancur will miss the game, but let's assume he's fit. And you've got Odegaard that's still got to come into that, and possibly a new signing. My question to you is, if you've got Odegaard, Basuma, and let's assume one new signing, I don't know what position, one new signing, which 3 drop out of the squad on a match day? I know a match day squad's 25, but in terms of the 20 that can play or be sub, which 3 do you think drop out? Because, Jacob, if it is Gray and Bergvall and Odegaard that don't get in that 20-man squad, that talks volumes.
I'll be pissed.
So
I will be
who is it going to be? So who's it going to be? Because Davis covers left back. Dragusin could cover right back and centre back. Gray covers 2 or 3 positions. So does Kulu. Richie's the only striker. Timo Werner we're paying 165k a week for. So I just thought it was an interesting talking point. Like who?
Yeah, because I think your squad is even smaller for the Carabao Cup, if I'm not mistaken, right? You got 2 less players during the Carabao Cup. That's interesting. I mean, if you don't mind leaving that back up for a second.
Yeah. Where are we?
So we're leaving Basuma out, and we're just going to assume Basuma, Bentancur, push. And did Pedro Porro, is he okay? Do we know? I don't know for sure. I haven't seen anything.
Look, I'm just assuming. Look, what I don't want to do is go, oh, but they're injured for this game. Let's assume the game against Newcastle.
Everyone's good. Okay.
Everyone's fit. Who misses out? Which 3 don't make even the bench?
I think those first 5 names are locked, 100%. And then when you get to everything else other than Son is where the questions start happening. I think James Maddison is the next surefire thing I'd put in there. Now, if look at the bench, I gotta say Ben Davies is my first name off of the bench. Has to be. Because I know he can cover 2 positions, but so could Dragusin Van de Veen, so could Dragusin Spence, so for me, that's the first name that I'm throwing out. Get him gone. There we go.
Right.
But
Davis is gone.
But we're not putting him back with a defender, so we're very
so mean.
tight.
He's about to get an award for doing 10 years at the club.
Yeah, enjoy it. Sit there and watch the game from a beautiful seat, from the finest arena. Come on now. He can get all the cheese and wine he wants. I'm
going to remove this, Jaggers, by the way, so I can get the comments up. In the chat, let us know which 3. By the way, we know Odegaard's coming in. We know Basuma's going to make the squad unless he's sold.
I'm doing Odegaard for Richarlison. Odegaard for Richarlison.
Okay.
And then...
so you don't think he'll have a striker on the bench?
I think he just would put Son. I think he'd put Son through the middle. Well, I mean, that is a good point.
Do you see what I mean? And don't get me wrong.
Richie
this is
also
nothing
does play
like
left
Chelsea's
wing.
dilemma. This is nothing like Chelsea's dilemma.
I know it's not going to happen, but Brennan Johnson's got to go. I'm definitely a straight swap Odegaard, Brennan Johnson, straight swap Basuma, Bentancur. I'm fine with that. Son could play striker. I don't like him at striker anymore, if I'm honest. I don't like him being not selfish. I was very disappointed with Son on Monday for what it's worth.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Because when I hold a player to a certain standard, I expect you to meet that standard, if not exceed the standard. So for me, that's kind of disappointing. But it's a better problem to have than who's from the youth that we could pull up. You know, it's a better problem, but it doesn't mean that we're in a better situation. It's just less of a problem.
Where I was going with this is you've got Odegaard, Basuma, and I'm just assuming we're going to sign one more. that doesn't even take into account Mikey Moore and
I would have done him for Timo
and Lancashire. So straight away there. And by the way, guys, I'm not talking about registering them. I'm talking about on a Saturday,
on the bench,
on a Sunday, when the
Premier
manager
League
goes,
match.
right, you're my 11, you're my 9 subs.
Yeah.
Who's missing out? This is going to be very, very interesting because, yeah, of course, injuries. You're going to pick up injuries. I'm just playing devil's advocate that no one's injured. What's he going to do? And therein lies the problem with Lancashire getting game time, Moore getting game time. It's going to be mad, isn't it?
I'm imagining the heaviest rotation will be on those 2 games a week weeks, if that makes sense. I kind of misspoke there, but
sure,
I think that like I'm concerned when I didn't see Mikey Moore on the bench. I was concerned. I said, "Wow, look at this bench." For me, Richarlison isn't a game changer to bring off of the bench. He is just a body that hasn't been running around. So, like, I'm fine with him going. Ben Davies, kind of the same thing for me. A body that can fulfill a role at a position, and he knows where to physically be most of the time. So, that doesn't mean he's going to excel at the position. That just means he's like a warm body with fresh legs. And that's where I start trimming, in my opinion. Like when I'm trimming a bonsai tree, I don't just start hacking. I start, okay, what's the shape? How am I trying to let this thing look and make it grow? Because the way you clip it is the way it grows. And I see the same thing with Tottenham. The way we start cutting players out, excluding them. Brennan Johnson, he needs to hold not even the bench. He needs to go for a minute and just watch us and then think about his actions. And then we bring him back as a sub. After Odegaard
this
starts,
is the guy
Mikey
we're being
Moore rides on
told,
the
though,
bench.
that he really likes. Like, you know...
That is a worry. That is a red flag.
It is
I
a
made
massive
3
red
strikes.
flag.
I'm a 3 red flags, and then that's when I phone the police.
Yeah, by the way, the reason I didn't put Reguilon and Lo Celso or Solomon
He's been
in that
distant
bracket,
since preseason.
I'm pretty sure in the last week, all 3 of them will end up somewhere else. Guys, girls, come on, do me a solid. Get Jacob 70 subscribers. You don't have to watch him every week.
Big up to 10 people.
Come on, can we get 6? Is it exactly 60 away?
60. Yeah, it is. Well, it's 59. So
59 people. Come on. Do you know what? I remember when I was...
I say 60 because as soon as you're like, yeah, I hit 5K, then it'll be like 4,999.
Yeah.
There's always that guy or the 2 guys are like, let me mess with him. So
trust me, and I'm sure Jacob will agree with me, and I will let him go in a minute because I know he needs to go. But trust me, when you are a YouTuber, you never think you're going to get your first 1,000. Then when you get your first 1,000, you're like, God, am I going to ever get to 5? And it feels like forever, that gap. So come on, people. 59 away. There's 468 of you in here. Jacob's a great guy. He's level-headed. I don't like all his opinions. He doesn't like all of mine. But you know what? It's all good. It's all good. So please smash that
And we both
button.
have the same goal for our club. Win me something this year. The smallest trophy, I will be over the moon. You know, that's the thing about with people with very low expectations like me right now with Spurs. My expectations are very low. I don't expect them to. I want them to. But if they did, if they had been, you know, just a little bit more, hey, who knows what we could do. I like to think that so long, like back to the signings and like how they can affect us in the season. In the league table, nothing is, I don't see much changing unless it's us dropping a spot. I don't see us getting that because I see Chelsea, I see United, I see them trying to, in Newcastle with no Europe, they're a good squad.
Yeah.
I know they're not the deepest, but they got a good starting 11. I like
And
a
one
lot of
game
their
a week.
players.
One
And
game
no
a week.
Europe, just like us. That's why we took advantage of all the other teams that were. Brighton was in Europe. They got bounced around for a little bit. All these other clubs that were in Europe for the first time, except for Aston Villa, were like a little shell-shocked in the Premier League. So for me, I see it as teams are going to be coming for our spot as much as we're just trying to hold on to it. We're not climbing up. We're just hanging on with what we've done. Now you bring in 2 signings in the next 8 days that are like legitimate 11s. Like Odegaard,
I agree.
For his lack of notoriety, his lack of statistics and like research that you can do on him, I know he is not worse than Brennan Johnson.
Jacob,
so like that's a starting 11 signing.
Worse. You're not worse than Brendan. I honestly,
I played
some
goalie and
of
I've never slipped over the ball like that. I'm telling you.
the
That was
number of wingers
atrocious.
I've seen in my 40 years of supporting Spurs, and then we have to watch
Ronaldinho's, bro. Watching a Ronaldinho and then a Brendan Johnson tape.
This comment, Linda Williams, you're showing your age, Linda. Jimmy Neighbour, I knew him before he passed away. Jimmy Neighbour was actually, when I did my coaching badges, he was there on the day that I did my coaching badges. He was friends with the coach, who was a guy called Nicky Milo, who worked for Millwall. And yeah, Jimmy Neighbour played on the wing for Tottenham Hotspur. So I remember Jimmy Neighbour very well. You're going back many years. Jacob, do you need to jump? I'm just...
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation. So like, I do, just for the sanctity of the people who are waiting, which I think there's probably like 10, 11 people waiting. 12. Sorry, 12. Shout out to 12 people who are waiting. But I see Solanke, I see Odebear, I see these little bits, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall. These could be the difference between having to go to penalties with Fulham in the first round of a Carabao Cup to where we can actually make a run in there. I think that they help us push the line for a Carabao Cup or close the gap for a Carabao Cup. I think they help us in a lesser degree close the gap at getting just past the second round of the FA Cup, please. I know it was City, the eventual champions, but they only beat us by 1 goal. If we were better on that day, we could have won that. Just like we did versus Burnley, a very poor game, won by 1 goal. So FA Cup, Carabao Cup, huge disappointments for me last year. I see those two competitions with the signings that we got will help us in those, but they're not going to help us close the gap in the league table to anybody above us. Maybe Aston Villa if they have troubles. I think Amadou Onana is not as good as Douglas Luiz, although he is a very talented midfielder. I think Moussa Diaby, they replaced him with Jadon Philogene, who's a big question mark. We were linked with Jadon Philogene. I love Jadon Philogene.
Hang on. You've got to remember, Jadon Philogene's a young player. They've got players already that will play in front of Jadon Philogene. On that right wing.
Who did they replace? Who did they get to replace Diaby? I thought that
well,
was
they bought Rodgers in. They bought Morgan Rodgers in.
Okay.
They bought Morgan Rodgers in January, but don't forget Bailey plays on the right for them as well. And
he's the starter. That's right.
There's a lot of talk today that they are going to offer Raheem Sterling a role. And listen, whatever you think of Raheem Sterling, he's proven. He scores goals. Oh my God, he's better than Werner. He's better than most of our wingers. And Aston Villa looking apparently at bringing in Gertruda as well. If Aston Villa bring in Gertruda, Sterling, they brought in Onana, Ross Barkley on a free for the homegrown. It's just experience.
Ross Barkley balled out for Luton Town last year, so I think respect needs to be given. That was a great free. But I remember when we did it, I remember being like, I wonder how our fans would have reacted, because I was a little bit like, I wouldn't have minded a well-seasoned steak in that locker room, because when you are trying to do this youth movement that we've all been asking for, that we've been talking about, you got to have a guy who's been there, done it all, seen it all. Agreed. I know we got Son, but he's only been to 1 Champions League final and we lost. Ross Barkley's won things with Chelsea.
But you know what? Before he signed, I did in one of my morning videos. I said, do you know what? I said Ross Barkley isn't a player I'd buy where I say this is the guy, this is the main starter. But for homegrown experience, free transfer, winning mentality, I
thought we'd be all over it.
I thought
that sounds like a Levy signing.
I thought we'd be all over it in terms of just some more experience, but we didn't. But by the way, Eugene saying Ange puts the teams in positions to score, players don't execute. Sure, but he also puts teams in the position to concede a hell of a lot of goals. If we're going to give him praise, he's got to get not. What's the opposite to praise? He's got to take both. If he puts us in the position to score,
I don't know why I love Ainge. I'm his biggest cheerleader. I got Ainge clips out that I could play for you, but it's still okay if he gets critiqued. I just sometimes don't agree with some of the criticisms, but criticism is never bad. Like if I'm working out and a guy who knows something else about an exercise is like, hey, with your form, you want to try and on this exercise really tuck your elbows in, right? I'm gonna be like, hey, fuck you, bro. I'm gonna lift this. It's like, no, I'm okay. Thanks for the pointer. I'm gonna see how that worked. So I think it's just a little adjustment. a little tweaking here and there. We're all everything going to be good. But I would love to see some more transfer business done in these next 8 days, or else I think league wise you can expect where we're at. If not, I'm saying fifth because I'm hopeful. I think my hope leads me to fifth. Reality would put me about sixth, and I think maybe if reality wants to be very harsh, it will get us around seventh. How many subs are you off? Let me see.
Come on, people. The Spurs fan base. We never show. We come on 47 people. There's 462. It's 10% of you. 10% of you. Come on, smash that button. I'm putting the link in again. At least let's get him another 20, 25 before he goes. By the way, look, Eugene, big up to you, bro. Hope you're well. Look, but Eugene, you could say, well, the players that aren't taking the chances are players he signed. So you listen. There's swings and roundabouts to everything. Brennan Johnson, Timo
tied
Werner,
himself to it,
right?
Timo Werner. This is where I got upset with Ainge, because I know Timo Werner is so bad at all these aspects, but the one thing he can do is on that left-hand side make a decent run, and he's got the pace to make a decent run. Now, what he does with the ball beforehand, that question marks all around. But to put him on the right-hand side where visibly he looked like he looked like a mime with an invisible wall on his right shoulder when he was dribbling. Do you remember with Timo Werner on the right-hand side? He did not look comfortable. I was like, Son, put Son on the right. Son is a far better player. I'd much rather take my best player, put him on a side that makes him a little bit weaker, but at least makes this guy not so bad. Every dribble Timo took on the right-hand side looked like someone was pulling his shirt, and there was nobody on it.
I would have rather seen than Werner go on the right. I would have rather seen Jed Spence go right wing. Like when he bought Werner,
I'll be fine with that too.
I looked at it and I went, what are we doing? That's what I looked at it and thought. Look, it's interesting. Lots of people see it in different ways. What we've got to remember is not every team is going to be as, I don't want to say as poor as Leicester, but as naive maybe. They've just come up. I fully expect us to beat Everton. Everton have got injuries, big injuries. I fully expect us to beat Everton. But Jacob, it's the 4 games after that. Newcastle, Arsenal, Brentford, United. Now, I said earlier yesterday in a video, this could be one of them sliding door moments. After those 6 games, we could be sitting there going, God, we've navigated that brilliantly. We've got 13 or 14 points. Or we could be sitting there going, shit, we've won one of our first 6 games. It's a tough start. It's a tough start.
And this is why I don't agree with the whole notion. Like, I've heard people say, I've seen it on X, the mention of people freaking out about Everton saying that it's a must win. It's not the must win. Yeah, we should win, but it's not a must win. And I feel as though I think it kind of is a must win. That's what I'm doing my show on after this that I'm actually late for, is that is it a must win? Do you think it is a must win? For me, I think it is because of the aforementioned following fixtures. That run, St. James has not been kind to us under Ange Postecoglou. And
Newcastle and Man U, we've got away in the next in that 4-game period.
I hate St. James Park. I didn't used to feel this way.
Well, they've lost 1 in 10 at St. James's Park. And Man United have lost 1 in 10 at Old Trafford. No matter how much we go, yeah, but they're weakened. I remember when we played Newcastle last year, everyone went, they've got loads of injuries. And I think, was it 4-0? 4-1?
I think we won 4-1. We beat them when they had a bunch of... We won at home 4-1, then they beat us... I think it ended up being 4-2, but no, that was Brighton. That was Brighton where they won. It was like 4-0, and then Alejo Veliz scored a goal and was like, yeah. I was like, stop celebrating.
Yeah. It's look, I agree with you. I think that was the biggest disappointment for me with Leicester. It wasn't, oh my God, 1 game, let's the world is ending, but it was, well, hang on, you've got to beat Everton now, because what we can't do, Jacob, we can't start the season with Everton and Leicester and not beat either of them. You can't. I think that will really set the tone for a really difficult season.
2 points in 2, and your first 2 opponents are let's face it, I think a lot of people see Everton as a fighting relegation this year. That's why they have Sean Dyche. I see Leicester trying to just stay up this year. That's their goal. So I see it. I absolutely see it as a must win because of the following fixtures. Because then you can say, okay, if we get a point out of Arsenal, it's not the end of the world. If we get a point out of Arsenal and Newcastle, I might be happy with both of that looking back in retrospect. You know what I mean? Because of the caliber that Arsenal's at, is that they're the best team defensively. Nobody was scoring. They had, I mean, the stat that I quoted you incorrectly, by the way, even with my incorrect stat, they were still 9 out of 13 games clean sheet. And I was like, wow, they're far above and beyond everybody else. So I just think that, like, realistic expectations will be set in.
Well, the thing
Everton, if we lose, I guarantee we will do a panic buy on deadline day in a position we need for a player we don't want.
But I
Emerson Royale, we did it.
Do you know the funny
do it with
thing?
everybody.
You're so right. We've got one from Leicester. By the way, I'm going to caveat all this by saying I have predicted Spurs to beat Everton 2-1. I think if we drew with Leicester, if we draw with Everton, now all of a sudden a point away at St James's Park won't look good because now you've played 3 and you've got 3 points. And the reason why that's significant is already the teams above us will have got more points than that. I fail to believe, well, already Liverpool, Villa, City, Arsenal, United, they've all already got 3 points. Man City have got, I'm not saying we're going to be up there with Man City, but Man City have got Ipswich at home. I mean, you've got to feel for Ipswich. Their first 2 games are Liverpool and Man City away. How many goals? I mean,
baptism by fire, you know?
How many goals do you think Man City will score past Ipswich Town?
I think a modest 4-0's fair. Little Erling Haaland brace or a hat trick.
I'm going. He is my captain this week. I am going for an.
That's a good idea. I need a captain Erling Haaland, triple captain him or something.
Anyone you've got in your PFL team that is Man City, get them. I mean, they're home to Ipswich. That if ever there was a gimme,
it's a good shout.
Look,
I do got to jump. I do have to jump. I'm running behind for that show. But Savva, look, I do want to also clarify this, and I want to publicly say this. When I said that, like, I feel like a lot of times, and you know this very well, Savva, that you say something and it can easily be misconstrued.
Sure.
I don't want it to give the impression that I was saying Savva said the sky is falling, therefore run and cover your head. I said I was watching Savva and other channels, and they made me feel like that. That was how I felt.
That was my channels. Don't give them credit for my facts that I put together, right?
Okay, so Savva's facts made me feel as though and I was like, hey, the sky might not be falling. That's all it was. A conversation about a conversation. And so, again, the sky's not falling. I didn't say Savva said the sky was falling. All I said was, when I listened to Savva and a couple others, I felt as though the sky was falling. It made me feel that way. But that was my brain interpreting information and making me feel a certain way.
If Everton beat us, quickly before you go, will the sky be falling then?
No, but I'm buying an umbrella made of steel. No, but I'm buying an umbrella made of steel. I will be, if we draw, that's worst case scenario. Losing is out of the realm of possibility. If you lose versus...
No, you've got to win. For me, I think
draw is worst case scenario, and that's unacceptable.
Everton are missing. Who did I see they were missing? They were missing Branthwaite, Young.
Yeah, actually, I have a list of that. They had Coleman, Patterson. So Seamus Coleman, Patterson, Garner, Jared Branthwaite, Chermiti, Tarkowski's a doubt. Yeah, Everton have 14 senior players available.
14. We've got to win. We've got to win. Look, Jacob, go to your show. People, please get over there and
like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It costs nothing. All you have to do is just hit it once. Boom, you never think about it again.
Yep.
But if you want to go the extra mile, you hit that notification bell and you tune into the live stream.
Yeah. When you subscribe to people, hit their notification bell as well. It really does wonders. And check that you're still subscribed if you think you are. YouTube has a habit of unsubscribing people. It's tedious. Jacob, you're a legend. Thank you very much. Take care,
everybody.
And I'll speak to you on WhatsApp. Take care, bro.
I enjoyed the chat, everyone. Again, we're beefing, we're fighting, we're at each other's necks, right, Savva? And
Yeah,
you're
man.
mocking me, I'm mocking you. It's just a mock fest.
I'm going to
Big old
slag you
mockery.
off the minute you get off this show.
As soon as I'm gone, he's like,
And
this
someone
guy's
will
a.
clip it. Yeah, someone will clip it.
All
Yeah.
right, buddy.
All
Take
right,
care.
mate. Take care, man. Guys, girls, I'll go for another 10, 15 minutes by myself. If you've got any questions, get some questions in. Why not? Let's have some question time. Yeah, Gundogan on a free. Oh, could you imagine Tottenham Hotspur signing someone of that ilk? I did see someone, as I said the other day, I did see someone say, yeah, we wouldn't want Gundogan anyway. He doesn't fit into the project. And that was the moment where I went, oh, no. Oh, gosh. It doesn't matter what the project is. I want Gundogan at my football club. Not Sam would have ever got him. JK27 said the stats were pretty damning, but they still took you to fifth. The Prem is a battle every game. If you're slipping, you'll be punished. These first 5 games are pretty much a crapshoot. Well, yeah, exactly, which is why we had to beat Leicester in the first game. That Leicester and Everton, for me, I had down as 2 wins. I think I said that from the first... I did the first 6 games, and I said I want to... So I think that we're going to get 10 points. I think I said we're going to get 3 wins, 2 defeats and a draw. I don't know if I still feel that now, but that's what we should have been. The headphones I'm using are, what are they? They are Astro Gaming. I don't do gaming, by the way. They were just really comfortable. So it's very, very nice. You'll never see this thing here. Never actually comes down to talking to. No need for that at all. Yeah, we got to win. Got to win against Everton. Guys, girls, put in what changes would you make to the 11, and what would be your predicted score? We'll round the show off on that. By the way, here's where we are. Let me cover the cost. There we go. 13,343. Can we get that to 13,350 before the show ends? That's 7 people to subscribe. Just 7. Not asking for a lot there, people. Hey, Savva, thoughts on Arnie's slot and how well? Really difficult to say so far. He's had 1 game. I like Arnie Slot as a manager. I was a big fan of bringing him in Spurs. I think Liverpool will be absolutely fine. Look, half the battle is the players that you've got. And Liverpool have got good players. I think he'll be absolutely fine. It's going to be a slight tweak in how you play, but I think you'll be absolutely fine. When you've got Mo Salah, when you've got Diogo Jota, Diaz, Nunes, Gakpo, McAllister, Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Konate. I mean, you've got a lot of very experienced pros there. I think you'll be absolutely fine. Surf South said, Ange needs to get the starting 11 right. I'd play Vic, VDV, Dragusin, Romero, Porro, Basuma, Berg, Valkulu, Maddison, Solanke, Odeber. Interesting. Well, Maddison did a lot of work off the left, didn't he? And thank you for the 2 people that have subscribed. We're now only 6 away from 13,350. So that would be really, really nice if 6 of you would go and subscribe. Yeah, Maddison did some really good work from the left. But I liked that he had the freedom. I don't know if I'd want to see him out there permanently, but it's an option for sure. Jimmy has said, do you expect any more signings? Yeah, I expect Spurs to sign someone out of nowhere. I don't know where it will be. I don't know how good the quality will be either, but I do expect us to sign somebody, yes. We need to beat Arsenal. Yeah, I can't see it. I genuinely don't see how we beat Arsenal. I think they are solid, but we'll see. Always hope we beat them. I just don't think we will. Hasper, big up Has. Hope you're well, brother. He's going for 1-0 against Everton. Mark Cook says, Savva, do you think Moore might play in Europe? A lot of games coming soon. Look, I don't know. Again, I suppose it depends how seriously does he want to take Europe. How seriously is he going to take the Cups? I don't know, is my honest answer, Mark. I really don't. Kind of given up knowing what the plan is and what we're doing. Paul Pablo said, biggest change, sack Ange and his tactics. Angus said, Sav, what's your score prediction for our game v Villa? I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be really tight. I'm going to go with 2-2. I think this will be a 2-2 game. I could go 1 goal. I don't know. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 2-2. But Arsenal do look good. I'm going to give you that. Arsenal do look very good. James said, I said you're overconfident against Leicester. I could see a draw. Did make me smile at the final whistle. Look, I tried to be confident for once. Normally I'm being told I'm negative. So, I thought I'd try something. Amin has said 2-2. Big up Amin. Rich has said, if I see Johnson start, I'm double hand out. If Johnson starts after that shit show we saw on Monday, it does make you question what the manager's doing. Odegaard against a weak Everton is a must if the kid likes to dribble at his man. 2-1 Spurs. Yeah, let's see. Let's chuck him straight in, shall we? Let's chuck him straight in. These are the games these kids should be able to handle. It's a very weak, injury-prone Everton. Ryan has said, who would you like to see coming in before the window closes? Who would I like to see come in or who will come in? What I'd like to see a Locatelli. I'd like to see a Rabiot. I'd like to see an Ederson. I'd like to see a João Gomez. I'd like to see a proper top winger, but we know that's not going to happen. And I still think we need a centre-half. Rumours today about Christensen of Barcelona, the ex-Chelsea player. I don't know how strong they are, but Christensen, let me know what you think in the chat. AJ, big up to you as a great guest, great debate, great show. Thank you very much. See, two people with differing opinions. We can talk. Do I think Basuma will start anytime soon? I think we need him with Bentancur out. Yeah, I think with Bentancur out, we should see him. I wouldn't want to see a midfield of Sarr and Bergvall or Sarr and Gray, if I'm honest. I think it might be a bit too weak. Arsenal beat us by 4 comfortably, says Ange's a fraud. Rasmus said 2-1 Spurs against Everton, concede from a set play. Yeah, I bet you put your money on Spurs conceding from a set play. Alexandra said, my Astro headset only plugs into an Xbox controller. How do you plug yours into the PC? I'll show you. Hang on. Here you go. Just a wire. Just plugs into my PC. Just like that. There we go. I don't even know I got the headphones on. I haven't even got a guest here. Tell you what, let's take those off. Actually, no, it's comfortable now. They're warm. Who else have we got? What does Ange change on Saturday? I don't know. Something. I know it won't be the back 4 unless Porro's injured. Angus, you also thought you were signing Mbappe and Zubimendi. Brad thinks Everton are going to win 1-0. I can't see it, Brad. I can't see it. Chris thinks 4-2 Spurs. Remember, our window isn't done. Listen, I didn't ever forget. Big up Russ Evo. Russ, was this you? Russ, was this you? No, not this. Was this you? I just want to check. Someone emailed me this today. I think it was you. And I really do appreciate emails like this. The nicest email I've woken up to. So big up to you, Russ. Thank you very much. Just nice to say, I know I always wake up to streams. So, I really appreciate that. Yeah, and it is what it is. Guys, girls, come on. We are 5 away from 13,350. I'm going to stop the show in 2 minutes. Can we get 5 people in the next 2 minutes so we can get to 13,350? That would be amazing. If we lose on Saturday, what happens? I don't think anything happens if we lose. If we lose, we lose, and it's not a good start to the season. I don't think anything happens to the manager. But we'll see. We'll see. Finn Rickwood, big up, Finn. I hope you're well, bro. Finn has gone for 2-1 Spurs. Big up to you. We can't be talking about other managers yet, surely. We can't be. I don't think he's going anywhere. We can't be talking about him, Lewis. Can't be talking about Lewis. Surely Bergvall to start. He's a future superstar. Look, I think before we say players are superstars in the making, I think let's see them start games of football first. And dominate. To be a superstar, you've got to go in, make that place your own. I do think we're doing it again. We're just putting a bit too much pressure on the kids. But listen, guys, girls, I am going to leave it there. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to my rant at the beginning. As I said, apologies to Ben Bowman. I shouldn't have called him out. I didn't mean any harm by it. I wasn't rude, but I shouldn't have called him out. So whatever he wants to do with that information is fine. Big up to each and every one of you. Thank you for having my back. Much love. I'm back tomorrow with a premiere with me and the Irish Hotspur. We have our weekly chat. So we'll be back tomorrow for a premiere at 12 o'clock. See you then. Much love And as always, come on, you Spurs.